So how you like them apples, guys? I just connected a 2005 domestic violence incident to a satanic ritual in 2014, okay, that Diddy is potentially the through line on all of it, just like I said I would. How you like them apples? I always deliver on the things I'm going to do. All right, guys, so as promised in the video that I already referenced this in, I assume that is probably going to have happened before this. Now we're going to talk about a crazy connection that I made watching something totally random from 5 years ago last night, okay? Now, Traplore Ross is, now this obviously is related to Diddy. I'm sure you've seen in the, the title and the thumbnail, this is going to be related to Diddy. But, so Traplore Ross does these incredible documentaries where he covers all kinds of different, like, kind of dramatic sagas from the hip-hop community, okay? And so the one that we're going to look at right now that involves Diddy in an insane way that will blow your mind is called the Drake, Chris Brown, Rihanna love triangle, okay? So when I watched this, right, and obviously if you guys know the story, Chris Brown was, when he first, came on the scene, was like the most talented, most incredible performer. He's like an incredible singer. The guy can dance, like he's a choreographer. He does self-directed. The guy was doing it all. You could just look, you're like, this guy's going to be a superstar for the rest of his life. And he had a squeaky clean image and he started dating Rihanna. They were the hottest couple in the world. And then he beat her, where her face was all messed up, whatever. And it was like a massive scandal that ended up completely derailing his career for a while, Now that should tell you how talented that kid is, that he beat up Rihanna, okay? Like Rihanna, pictures of Rihanna came out of her face, like black and blue, like this, except worse, and he came back from that. Think about that. Who comes back from that? No one. Okay. Ray Rice, the running back for the Baltimore Ravens, one of the best running backs in the league, he got caught on camera punching his wife. He knocked her unconscious in a casino. What do we always say about fighting in casinos, guys? What do we always say about fighting in casinos? Never, ever, ever. You're on video for 100% sure. So he punched his wife, and when the video dropped, he got cut, and not a single team picked him up. He offered to play for free, and no one would take him. He got blackballed from the league. Okay, he was one of the best running backs in the league. Chris Brown came back from this. Now, where Diddy comes into this, you have domestic violence, and you're like, how is Diddy going to be involved in this? Wait until you see this. And then you also are going to have this crazy satanic connection that is going to melt your brain also, dude. Okay, a lot of Satanism when you look under the hood in the entertainment business, dude. It's starting to look, it's not starting. It is very much looking like that is a core piece of their culture, the Babylon book that Candace always references. I can't remember what it's called. Something Babylon. Whatever, I'll look it up. But nonetheless, we're going to jump right into it right now. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Tell your friends, and let's jump into it. But seriously, we're handshaking it. You're going to subscribe if you're going to continue to watch my content. It takes 1 second. You just click the button. And also, like the video if you don't mind also. All right, let's rock and roll.
Performing Run It. Please welcome Chris Brown and Joel Santana.
In 2003, at only age 13, Chris Brown is discovered by some local record producers, Hit Mission Records, whilst visiting his father's gas station. This crew developed Chris as an artist, helping him record a demo and eventually taking him to New York to pitch to major labels. Whilst he was there, a teenage Chris Brown captured the eye of a Def Jam record executive named Tina Davis.
Tina Davis is a record executive at Def Jam. She's overseen album releases for some of the biggest names in hip-hop.
Oh, by the way, guess what else we have in this video? Adults with kids. Who would have thought, guys, in the entertainment industry, adults with kids? Who would have thought?
Immediately impressed, Tina took Chris to go and meet the head of Island Def Jam, L.A. Reid, who immediately offered him a deal. Unfortunately, within a few months, Tina Davis had lost her job at Def Jam. But
why do you think, guys? Why do you think she lost her job? We were just talking about adults with kids, right?
Fortunately, immediately landed on her feet after the newly signed Chris Brown offered her a job as his own manager. And
they must have had a really strong emotional connection. I wonder why he hired her, She discovered him. She brought him to the record company and then immediately got fired. Like, that's so weird. Huh. I mean, I don't know. I'm telling you right now, I don't know for sure. But then she got hired by a 15-year-old Chris Brown or whatever. So let's see if anything else comes out related to that.
From that moment on, Tina put Chris to work, getting him lucrative performance opportunities, including the 2005 Vibe Awards, where Chris was introduced to a young woman by the name of Rihanna. Chris Brown and Rihanna spent the next few years crossing paths at various industry events, including the 2006 Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, the 2007 VMAs where they performed back-to-back, and Chris Brown's lit 18th birthday party, which was covered by MTV under the special title My Super Sweet 18th. As Chris Brown and Rihanna grew closer together, the pair continued to deny allegations that they were dating, suggesting that their relationship was a bit more like a brother and sister. Well, it turns out that she meant the relationship was a little bit more like the kind of brothers and sisters that you see on the internet. Oh, how I love holding my sister in the pool, wrestling with my sister in a bikini, and of course there's play fighting. Well, it turns out Chris wasn't playing. No, so as it turns out that on February the 8th, 2009, reports came out that Chris Brown had savagely beaten up Rihanna on the way to a pre-Grammy party. Allegedly, this incident came out of an argument between Chris and Rihanna, where Chris had been accused by Rihanna of having another relationship after seeing some booty call messages in his mobile phone. Now, the existence of this booty call message was confirmed by the LAPD, who said in an affidavit that a 3-page text message had sparked this incident, having come from a woman who Brown had previously had a sexual relationship with. Now, for many years, a lot of rumors have swirled around that the woman who had sent Chris Brown these raunchy text messages just before that incident with Rihanna was actually an older woman who'd been involved in helping him in the early stages of his career.
Ooh. I feel like there was someone that we heard about 90 seconds ago who got fired from her job and then immediately hired by Chris Brown. I wonder who it was, guys. So he was like 15 at the time, right? 15, 16 tops. So it's not just the guys. You get into the entertainment business, if you want to sleep with someone and they happen to be much, much, much younger than you and under the age of what's legal, it doesn't matter, dude. Just do what you want, right? Embrace Satan. By the way, this is what Rihanna looks like now. Whoops. Check this out. Rihanna, let's do like Rihanna 2025. And then just compare to what she looks like in 2005 or whatever, because I don't know. Maybe part of selling your soul to Satan is that you always look the same. You know, like you'll look young forever, Rihanna, because she looks identical. Okay? She has aged like zero. Pretty weird. Anyway, let's continue.
In fact, rumors of a 2-year relationship had already come out around the time Chris Brown had turned 18. For the record, this woman did deny all of the allegations and release a statement saying that no explicit emails exist between her and Chris, which is handy because that argument between Rihanna and Chris Brown was allegedly over a text message and not an
Slippery. I've never sent him an email like that. No one said you did. They said text messages. She's all, oh, what? Did you send any text messages? She's all, what? Did you send text messages? You want to go on the record? And, like no one said you sent emails, said you sent text messages. She's like, you ever had sex with a minor? What? Just answer the question, sweetheart, dude. Did you have sex with Chris Brown when he was a minor? I plead the fifth. Yeah.
Email. But that woman did go on to threaten legal action against anybody spreading those rumors. Probably something an innocent person would do, right? And following this, the media and fans had pretty clearly taken their sides, with most people rushing to Rihanna's support and many people looking to boycott Chris Brown for his terror.
And what do you think Diddy did in this situation, right? So Chris Brown beat the shit out of Rihanna, right? Like beat her. Like really beat her up bad. I'm sure that Diddy, he stayed out of this, right? Like, why would he get involved in a situation like that? He's not like, it's not like he has a dog in this fight. Of course he would chastise someone beating up a woman, right? It's not the kind of thing he does every single day.
Terrible actions. But bizarrely, within a few weeks of this incident, Chris Brown and Rihanna reunited for some reason at Diddy's mansion. And P. Diddy bizarrely appeared on The Ellen Show not long after this to try and justify his decision. Well, after dancing for an entire minute. Ellen was giving Puff Daddy a hard time for allowing Chris and Rihanna to meet, especially after the fact that she had banned Chris from her show. But it seems that Puffy was pretty adamant that there were always two sides to the story, and he was just trying to help the couple get some understanding.
There's a lot of...
Yeah. Hey, there's always two sides to a story, you guys. I mean, listen, okay? Sometimes if you cheat on a girl and she questions you too heavily about it, you have to beat her up, dude, right? Like, hey, tell us your side of the story, Chris. He's like, she wouldn't stop nagging me. I told her, leave me alone. Stop talking about it. She would not stop talking. So I punched her in the face 4 times. You're all right. I mean, I mean, that's it? That's your side of the story? Yeah, man. I told her, dude, we got to get to the award show. She wouldn't stop crying about the fact that I had had sex with another girl and that she was sending me love letters while we were together. So yeah, I had to put her in line. I beat that ass. I whipped her ass. You're like, right before an award show. Yes. Okay. Yes, I lost it. Diddy's all, yeah, can't you understand that? There's two sides of the story. Can't you understand that? What, you've never broken a girl's nose because she got out of line in front of your friends? What, Diddy? I said, you've never broken a girl's nose because she got out of line with your friends? No, I've never done that. Are you serious? How do you get girls to stop talking? How do I get that? What do you mean stop talking? Like when a girl's running her mouth. How do you get her to stop running her mouth? I don't know. Like, I generally don't have romantic relationships with girls who get out of line in front of my friends or scream at me, you know? I mean, I used to. Then when I found a one that was, you know, that I never fight with, I married her. You know, trust me, it's much easier. It's much easier to be with someone like that. He's like, well, okay, well, look at you. Lucky you. I have to break girls' noses. Yeah, I never did that, though, when I was with crazy girls. So, you know, I'm curious what he means by two sides of the story. But let's listen to him justify this and see why he decided to get involved in this domestic violence incident and defend Chris Brown. Because now that we know, pretty funny.
Chris Brown being at your place in Miami, and you arranging Chris and Rihanna getting back together.
I'm the type of person that I don't cast a stone or cast a judgment on anybody. As long as I know that the energy of the favor is positive for two people to sit down and talk about a situation that they're in.
And it looked like Diddy, a.k.a. Puff.
Yeah. He's all, listen, I'm not the kind of person who throws stones at people who do things that I do all the time, you know? Like, this is probably a very core part of every single relationship I've ever had with a romantic relationship with a girl is I beat the shit out of him, you know? So, like, I'm not going to throw a stone at the guy. And then since no one knows that I beat the shit out of everybody, like, I think I could probably, you know, throw a nice, you know, positive spin on this. You're like, you know, and now that we know that he literally was breaking Kim Porter's nose all the time, you know, every girl, like literally every, as far as I know, you know, he's, you know, according to the civil lawsuits, he is a serial violent rapist. You know what I mean? You think all of them are lying? Are all of them lying? Every single one of them is lying. It's like, all right, maybe, you know, maybe they're all lying, but we know you beat the shit out of girls, so kind of notable. But let's continue a little bit more of this, and then I'm going to show you where we get into Satanism.
Puffy, aka Swag, aka Brother Love, had done wonders. And by March 2009, only a month after the incident, many people were reporting that Chris Brown and Rihanna had reconciled and were getting back together. Though they had decided to keep this relationship as private as possible, apparently causing some friction amongst their respective teams. They were allegedly holding late night recording sessions working on a makeup duet, but the Chris Brown-Rihanna makeup story was about to get a little more complicated. Enter King of the Fuckboys, Drake.
So, here's the deal, okay? I'm just going to summarize the portion of the Drake part and get us all the way to where we are looking at Satanism, all right? So, basically, Drake was new on the scene back then, right? And Rihanna was the first famous girl that he dated, and so he imprinted on her, as it were. Like, she was the girl he wanted, and he was constantly like, Rihanna, Riri, hey, Riri, Rihanna, hey. He was always a creep, dude. You know, like, honestly, when I look back at his old stuff, like, he's a creep. Okay, that's not, like, something new, I've decided. Anyway, so this was an ongoing thing between him and Chris Brown. One of the most public spats of two famous rappers or hip-hop people over a famous girl. I can't think of another example that was this public. You know, you had DMX and Corrupt over Foxy Brown, but that wasn't as public as this, right? So basically, Drake's, you know, the way Drake framed this whole thing was like, look, man, you know, she needs a good guy to take her, you know, to pick her up after she's been with such a violent, crazy person. It's like, so, you know, I just treated her good. You know, I told her that she was special or whatever. And it's like, that's such amazing counter predatory. Like, if you know who he is, you know, it's like, now look, listen, a person who is authentically doing that, like, yeah, that's exactly what a battered little dove needs. Like, a girl who's been beaten up and beaten down, like, you know, emotionally and physically by a dude. You need to, like, you know, you need to go with soft hands and build them back up, dude. Tell them how incredible they are all the time, right? rebuild their confidence, make them feel safe. But when it's Drake, even when he's saying the words that a person who was doing that would say, he's still like, I just whatever. And you just look, you're like, he's just manipulating people. Like, he's scum. Anyway, so he had been all over her and kept on kind of like, kept having her, then losing her, having her, losing her, whatever. But he was always super positive about Rihanna. Okay. Now let's watch this little situation right here. Let me give you a couple minutes leading into it, just so that there's a little bit of context. Right. And then we'll, look at some satanic stuff.
Salty over the Drake incident and tells a Hollywood crowd, F Drake. This was a pretty interesting incident, actually, where apparently Chris Brown was just partying at a club, but got pissed off when the DJ dropped the song Started at the Bottom, and decided to ask the DJ to get up on the mic. I can kind of sympathize with this, because I have similar reactions at clubs when people play Danny Brown's music. But before you knew it, this unlucky crowd would then be subjected to an 8-song Chris Brown medley. Ball player and inventor of shit weed Reggie Bush even jumped on stage to be his hype man. So a month later, Drake is all up in his feelings about Chris, and appears on EVR radio saying that he's better than him.
These are the fact that I make better music than him, that I'm more popping than him, and that at one point in life, you know what I'm saying, the woman that he loves fell into my lap. I did what a real nigga would do and treated her with respect, so she's not up there talking down on me, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And all those things combined, create an individual that comes up to your radio station and is just gonna, do dumb shit.
Calm down, guys, calm down. You're both wankers, okay? Chris has a very
Trap Lil Ross is cool, dude.
brief reply to this, just tweeting out the word LOL. In May, Chris reveals that things didn't really work out with Rihanna. He named her busy schedule as the reason it didn't work. Suppose that's a better excuse than his shitty behavior. And revealed that he'd reconciled with the other half of his failed desert island smash, Karrueche. And the news of Chris Brown and Rihanna's breakup had Drake rubbing his hands together like Birdman discovering a new rapper at an open mic. So Drizzy ramps up the Chris Brown disrespect to a whole new degree, once again choosing to diss him in his GQ cover story in June. But the slippery OVO
creep, dude.
Girl stealer Drake continues to slither his way into Rihanna's inner circle, and in August was seen dining with her in New York on a date that apparently ended in a kiss. Not long after this,
ended with a kiss. Like, it ended with a kiss. You fucking creep, Drake. Okay, like, that's what I'm talking about. It's like the lover boy stuff. It's like, oh yeah, and then it's just a beautiful night between the two of us. We had dinner, she had lobster and I had the filet, but we shared each other's meals. And then afterwards, after we just had an amazing time, we had a little bit of champagne, not too much, I didn't want her to get too tipsy. We shared a really beautiful kiss at the end of the night. It's like, ugh, shut up, Drake. Jesus, you fucking weirdo.
Drake is blindsighted by the blindsighter to end all blind sightings, Ellen, inviting Drake on the show and asking him whether anything's going on between him and Rihanna. But Drake is incredibly coy about the whole thing.
That's Rihanna.
Yeah.
So.
No, okay. Oh, it's my turn now?
Yeah, your turn.
Great girl. We had our moment, and always support and have love for her, and yeah.
A little nervous. Okay, and
But behind the scenes, Drake was still putting in work, and soon he'd be popping up at her Dallas show and taking her for dinner afterwards. To return the favor, Rihanna actually popped up at Drake's show in Houston at the Toyota Center, and they were later seen out together spending racks at Houston strip club V9.
Here we go.
So it seems like things were going good for Rihanna and Drake. Rihanna and Drake. But it didn't take long for things to hit the rocks, and by February, Drake was all up in Rolling Stone, saying that she's the ultimate fantasy, but they're just friends. Friend-zoned! So things went kind of quiet, but then in the summer of 2014, Drake performed at his OVO Fest seemingly in front of some weird imagery of Rihanna amongst fire and the number 666.
So I just want to make sure that I understand this situation, okay? So Drake spent 5 years or whatever talking about how Rihanna is his ultimate fantasy. She's the one he wants more than anything. He can't have her. She keeps slipping through his fingers. He wants her. He can't have her. He wants her. He can't have her, okay? Now, anybody who knows anything about this satanic cult stuff knows that one of the things that they are supposed to do is they are supposed to, like, put it out there, right? Like, just tell the world what they're doing, okay? They're supposed to literally, like, tell them. It's like, that's why people are so suspicious of some of these Instagram accounts, the people whose names I can't say, because they just put it in your face. And it's like, why do you have all these pictures of, like, babies tied up upside down on your Instagram? Why do you have a room with blood all over the floor titled Kill Room. You know, what are you doing? Right? And so I don't think it's a huge stretch in the entertainment industry to think that maybe when this guy has been begging the universe to give him Rihanna forever, that suddenly he has a thing up on stage of Rihanna in fire and 666, then maybe that is some kind of call to Satan to get her and make her his. You know what I mean? These guys love these satanic rituals, man. You know what I mean? They love these satanic rituals. As soon as I saw this, I'm like, that's what I'm looking at, dude. This looks like some kind of satanic shit to try to get Rihanna to be his, you know? So I'm going to cut it off there because we've been talking long enough. But thank you, Trap Lore Ross, for the use of that documentary. He's amazing. You guys should go watch his stuff. I have spent an embarrassing number of hours listening to his stuff, like on planes and stuff. I love watching or listening to his, like, because they're so long. Some of them are so fucking long. It's unbelievable. But yeah, so Diddy, Satanism, what else could you want, dude? That's what I got. Love you guys. Bye-bye.